Hi there, it's Sally Ford from McCoy Farm and Gardens. This is our first video in a new series of video updates of the gardens. We thought it would be nice to show you around the gardens once a month and spotlight a few plants each time. If all goes well, we plan to expand our video series to include some on McCoy history, the trails, bird walks, and more. I thought I'd start out and give some background on the gardens. These gardens are the result of a 5-year labor of love by members of the Signal Mountain and Walden community and the Hamilton County Master Gardeners. It all began a year or so before I moved here back in 2012. The vision was to restore and expand the historic gardens with sustainable conservation practices and with pollinators in mind. Making these gardens happen took years of planning, clearing, and designing for the right eco-friendly soil and the right plant selections to attract monarchs and other pollinators. Most of the plants are native perennials. On a nice note, this last month we found out that the gardens won the project category in the Search for Excellence Award from the statewide Tennessee Extension of Master Gardeners. We were thrilled. It's wonderful for our community. You know, there are so many beautiful plants this time of year, and each bed is teeming with new growth, flowers, and activity. Let's head on to the gardens to get a look at the overall lay of the land and then look at some of the specific plants that are quite lovely. See you there. Well, here we are at McCoy, starting at the fire pit and looking out over the apple orchard. Just couldn't be a prettier day. Breeze is blowing and air is cool under the trees here. The gardens are shaped like a horseshoe and still have some legacy plants like the Cusa dogwood and rhododendron. This bed here nearest the apple orchard has lots of spring ephemerals and other interesting species. And then over here at the base of the horseshoe, near the pavilion, is a bed that has all kinds of ferns and celandine poppies, Trillium, Columbine, and many others. And then the part of the horseshoe beyond that's nearest the house has all kinds of flowering shrub like oak leaf hydrangea and other varieties of hydrangeas, native azaleas, witch hazel, and we just added in some new varieties of clethra. We also have a new fringe tree planted here in memory of Doug Newton. It's very sweet. I hope you'll come see it. Now I'm going to walk up towards the end of this bed near the apple orchard so you can just get a feel for the lush variety that's here. Most of the plants that we'll be looking at are native perennials that attract bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies, and other pollinators. And most of them are deer resistant, which is wonderful because you'll see some plants that have been chewed on. All right, I'll walk up to the front of the bed where we'll look at our first specimen. It's one of my favorites. You'll probably hear me say that a lot today because they're all so beautiful. All right, just around this corner. The first one we'll look at is called foam flower. Tiara cordifolia is its botanical name. Here we go. And it looks like little tiaras for Cinderella. These sweet woodland flowers bloom in early spring and stay, well, here it is June, so they're still blooming, but they'll eventually go away and we'll have others blooming in its place. They always make me think of fairies dancing, light and airy, but they can be massed to form a ground cover. Really beautiful. Now let's come back around the corner. We have several back here. Next one we're going to look at is Columbine. Aguilegia canadensis is its botanical name. And we'll come back to the Aquilegia in just a minute. They're beautiful, nodding wildflowers with red sepals and yellow petals and yellow stamens. They bloom from early April to June and like sun and part shade. While they appear delicate with fern-like leaves, they are tough and durable, and they self-propagate. The botanical name Aquilegia comes from the Latin word for eagle, because the 5 red sepals resemble an eagle's talon. Now our next one is a really important one for the butterflies, the fennel, Phoeniculum vulgare, beautiful feathery fronds and airy flowers that are favorite of the black swallowtail and monarch, both as food for the larvae and nectar for the butterflies. You may remember that Columbine and Fennel are part of Ophelia's bouquet in Hamlet. She said as she walked in with the bouquet, "There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there's pansies, that's for thoughts. There's fennel for you and columbines." There's a whole language of flowers from the Victorian era. Maybe we'll explore that sometime sooner or later. Hopefully sooner. Now the next one we're going to look at are these pretty sundrops. Enothera fruticosa. These bright yellow flowers that bloom during the day, unlike their cousin, the evening primrose, which blooms at dusk. They are upright, growing on 2-foot stalks, and have 2-inch yellow flowers with 4 petals. I don't know if you can see it, but there's an ant crawling around on that one. This is a great plant along a border, and it's not uncommon to get one from a friend because they grow so well and transplant easily. Now our next one is Star of Persia, Allium Christophi. I'm going to focus in on that bloom there. It's a perennial with a globe of star-shaped silvery purple flowers that are native to Turkey, Iran, and Central Asia, hence the reference to Persia. They like the sun and make such an impact in the garden and can be dried for arrangements. And the flower heads will fall off and remain on the ground, and they still look lovely just laying on the ground. Now here's another one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. Oh, and look, see the bee? These are foxglove. Penstemon digitalis are the white ones. And then back beyond are Penstemon calycosus, and they're lavender. These are native perennials with these lovely white and purple blooms on a smooth green stalk with deep green leaves. It blooms in early summer. Penstemon refers to the 5 stamen in the flower, and the interesting thing, for some reason, 4 are fertile and 1 is sterile. Maybe it's just the place where bees can hold on. Deadheading them to the ground in the fall will allow the rosettes at the base to become a nice ground cover. Okay, now our next stop, Coreopsis right here, right at this pretty little walkway, stone walkway. Another one of my favorites. Coreopsis auriculata, and they have a common name of mouse ear or tick seed Coreopsis. They grow in dense, bushy clumps with deep green leaves and bloom from April to June. Coreopsis means like a little bug, referring to the seeds. Each leaf has a pair of small lateral lobes that resemble the shape of a mouse ear. I'm going to see if I can find one. Here we go. See these two little leaves here, here, and here? Those are the mouse ears. So you have tick seed for the shape of the seeds and mouse ears. Coreopsis makes a beautiful ground cover. Now we're going to walk around to this bed at the base of the horseshoe near the pavilion. That pavilion has seen many wonderful things: dances, meetings, reunions, meals, weddings. And here we have celandine or wood poppy, Styloforum diphyllum. These beautiful bright yellow flowers among lots of green leaves appear in late winter and bloom into late spring. An interesting thing is that the yellow sap of the stems has been used as a dye by Native Americans. I want to show you the white bristly seed pods because they're also beautiful. See there, up underneath the leaves? These seeds from the seed pod along with short rhizomes spread the plant, and you can see it's done a great job in this bed. It's just full of celandine poppy. And our last spotlight of this video is the Trillium. 3 leaves. Trillium luteum is the yellow Trillium, and I think that's what this is, but I can't be sure because the flower is gone. They're sometimes called toad shade, with the idea that toads sit up underneath the leaf like that and wait for bugs to come. These are sessile Trillium, which means that the flowers bloom without a stem as compared to white or red Trillium, which have a stem for the flower. The fruit ripens around July, and ants take the seeds back to their nest in the ground, helping to plant them for the next spring. Another example of an ephemeral. Well, that's our first video tour. We hope you enjoyed it, and it has inspired you to spend time with gardening. There's so much to learn and enjoy. We'll share more videos over the summer and early fall. See you soon.